It is that time of Thanksgiving, and that time of Thanksgiving is a time of perhaps forgiving. Going forth in that gift of welcoming ourselves into our life in a way that we've never welcomed ourselves into our life before. Walking in life in a way that we've never walked in life before. And reflecting back on what was, so that we can better understand what is and more fully come to understand who we're becoming. And so, I don't know how many of you remember the song, I want to party like it's 1999. How many people remember, I want to party like it's 19... Oh my gosh, we're showing our age. Almost every hand went up. Well, I don't want to party like it's 1999 anymore. I just want to be able to buy groceries like it's 1999, where I could afford them. And maybe even going back to 1959, right? In 1959, let's go back. Let's forgive this present moment and take Thanksgiving in our memories of the past. In 1950, how much did gas cost a gallon? How many people in the 50s? How much? 20 cents a gallon. How much did bread cost a loaf in the 1950s? Bread. How much? Anybody? Nickel is good. That was my grandmother's. I remember nickel at the Grand Union Thanksgiving many years ago. It was 14 cents a loaf. How many remember a postage stamp, right? A lick 'em and stick 'em postage stamp. 3 cents. And pumpkins. Pumpkins cost 2 cents a pound. And Ross bought this. I asked him if he'd carve a pumpkin for my talk, and he did last night. He said, you could have given me a little more notice than 6 o'clock at night. I don't know. That's a 7 or 8 pound pumpkin. But it was 2 cents a pound. This pumpkin was not 2 cents a pound. And so what I'd like to invite us to make welcome in the forever of the childhood of our memories, and in the forever of the childhood of my memory, and you think back to your memory to the 50s, I remember the changing of the color of fall leaves. How many of you experienced the changing of fall leaves? What a gift, right? God's ever-presence. God's ever-presence right there. How many remember the taste of freshly pressed apple cider? I mean, it was running off the press, and they were catching it in buckets and pouring it into glasses at Long Island. Freshly pressed apple cider. And I remember on Halloween, collecting change for UNICEF. How many of you remember? How many of you remember collecting change? Oh boy, am I seeing heads nod. Am I seeing heads nod? In my heart and in my mind and in my soul, I knew that collecting change was part of the change that would change the world. And two, I knew it wasn't the value of the penny that mattered. It was the value of my beliefs and attitudes that I held in my mind that made me feel, even as a kindergartner, that my life mattered. The United Nations Children's Fund was created to provide humanitarian aid to all of the children of the world, to all of the children of all nations, to all of the children of all colors. And that was founded when? In the 1950s. I still remember the childhood of my memory. And I'm just inviting you, go back to the childhood of your memory, because it's always there. Go back to the childhood of your memory right now. In 1959, America still believed it had enough food and enough resources and enough means to feed its children and to help to feed the children of the world as well. What did you believe in 1959? Did you believe in UNICEF? Did you believe in the goodness of our prosperity and sharing it with this nation? And what do you believe today? What do you believe today? I know as a kindergartner, I believed in the goodness of UNICEF. I believed in the goodness of collecting change and pennies. And I believed that I was worthy as a kindergartner of making a change in the world that I created in my mind. In the good old days of my memory, I still remember playing on our living room Motorola hi-fi phonograph this 1959 hit song. Now, this is audience participation, so put on your thinking cap. This Decca Records recording artist was Brenda Lee. And who can name this tune, which was a big hit in the 50s? Who can name this tune in 3 notes? Think about the 50s, think about Brenda Lee. And it goes like this. These are the first 3 notes. Da, da, da. Anybody get it? Da, da, da. Brenda Lee, 1950s. Da, da, da. How about in 5 notes? Da, 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 da. How about 7 notes? Da. Why are you laughing at me? I'm doing my very best up here. This is my 1959 childhood self coming out. 7 notes. Brenda Lee, Decca Records, top hit. Da, 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 da. Babyface? Who got it? Who got Babyface? Well, you mostly got it. But this is Halloween. And so the song really is Pumpkin Face. Pumpkin face, you've got the cutest little pumpkin face. There's not another pumpkin can take your place. Pumpkin face, I'm in heaven when I'm in your fond embrace. I will need a shove because I'm in love with my pretty pumpkin's face. So 1959, the good old days, when Charles Schulz introduced us to a boy named Charlie Brown, that was the 50s, who despite untold challenges in his life, always taught us to see the good in everything and in everyone. Our talk title is Pumpkin Patch Parables. If life gives you pumpkins, make pumpkin pie. If life gives you pumpkin, plant pumpkin seeds. And if life gives you pumpkins, adopt one as your very own. And we're going to do that at lunch in Carter Hall. We're adopting our own Take Pumpkin. We're going to be fostering pumpkins for our prosperity at the center. And there's a story that I love, and it's about the boy and his pumpkin. A boy who adopted a pumpkin. In a small and quiet village, there lived a boy named Liam. Liam was different than the other children. He was shy, and he was often lost in his own world and spent most of the time alone in the farm fields near his home. One autumn, as the leaves turned golden and the air grew crisp, Liam stumbled upon a tiny, misshapen pumpkin in the corner of a field. It was lopsided, it was crooked-stemmed, and it had a dull orange hue. The other farmers had overlooked it, and they'd left it in this corner to rot away, deeming it unworthy of harvest. But Liam, in the corner of that field, on his own, saw something special in that little pumpkin. It's up to us to see something special in life. It's up to us to see something special in this world. It's up to us to see something special in ourselves. And when we come to see something special in ourselves, we come to see something special in a misshaped pumpkin. He gently picked this pumpkin up, he brushed off the dirt, and he whispered to the pumpkin, "You're perfect to me." From that day on, the pumpkin became Liam's constant companion. He named it Poppy, Poppy the pumpkin, and he carried it everywhere in walks. To the market, he even took Poppy the pumpkin to bed. The fields were filled with grand, flawless pumpkins. At Halloween, the village held its annual pumpkin carving contest. Flawless pumpkins showed up, each more magnificent than the last, and Liam hesitated. Did he bring Poppy, his pumpkin, and entered in the contest? Poppy's imperfect. How could I enter him in a contest that's about perfection? But then he remembered the promise he had made to Poppy. What promise did you make to yourself when you came to this earth? Because we all made a promise. We all made a promise before we came here. What promise did you make? He made a promise to Poppy, "I'll always believe in you." With trembling hands, Liam carved a simple, smiling face into Poppy. It wasn't the most intricate design, but it radiated warmth and love. On the night of the contest, as the villagers gathered, Liam placed Poppy in the line of pumpkins to be judged. And one by one, the villagers began to pass by, and they began to see Poppy not as a flawed pumpkin, but as a symbol of love and acceptance and the beauty of imperfection. That night, Liam and Poppy became the heart of the village, reminding everyone that true worth isn't found in perfection, but in the love we give and receive. Years later, when Liam grew up and became a farmer himself, he always left a corner in his field for the small, misshapen pumpkins. And every autumn, he would tell the story of Poppy to the children, teaching them to see beauty where others might not see it. What promise did you make to yourself when you came to this life plane? We all made a promise. What promise did you make? What promise did you make as a child to go out and collect for UNICEF? What promise did you make to be part of a world that works for everyone? What promise did you make to be part of no child anywhere in the world going to bed hungry? What promise did you make? And what promise will you make today to become that absolute perfection of beauty and joy and radiance that in truth we all are? You know, the pumpkin faces that we mold in our mind, because this is where it all begins, the pumpkin faces we cast and mold in our minds become the pumpkin faces we behold in our lives. You know, it's true that the faces we present to the world become the face that the world presents to us. The way we see ourselves in our mind is the way we come to see the world. Do you accentuate the positive or actively embellish the negative? How many of us have people in our lives that actively embellish the negative? Yeah? How many people in this world are actively embellishing the negative? I invite you to unembellish those people from your life. I invite you to unembellish those channels on the TV that are accentuating the negative. I invite you to change channels, or better yet, turn the TV off. And so I asked Ross if he would do something about my talk. What face are we presenting to the world? And I asked if he would carve 2 heart eyes. And then I asked him if he could carve the nose in the shape of a Science of Mind symbol. This was 8 o'clock last night. He said yes to the heart-shaped eyes. I won't tell you what he said to carving a Science of Mind symbol for the nose. I will leave that in private. But I asked him if he would do a pumpkin that reflected, what face are you presenting to the world? Because the face you present to the world is the face the world will present back to you. The face you present to the world is the face the world will present back to you. What face are you showing the world? Because the face that you show the world will be the face the world shows to you. It's your pumpkin. It's your mind. Create in your mind the face on the pumpkin you want to see, because the face we create in the mind becomes the map of the life that we live. And so there's a story. What face are you going to present the world? Because it's the face the world is going to show to you. There's a woman at her hairdresser's. Amy's going, oh, this is a hairdresser story. You may know this one. At the hairdresser's, getting her hair styled and colored. And she goes, she's all excited. I'm going to Rome. I'm going to Rome. And her hairdresser says, Rome is crowded. It's dirty. Anyone going to Rome, you'd be just crazy to go to Rome. Well, I'm flying on an airline. I'm really excited. My first flight. What airline are you flying on? Goes the hairdresser. We're flying Continental. I'm so excited. Continental? That's a terrible airline. Their planes are old. Their flight attendants are awful. The food is terrible. They're always late. They're never on time. Why would you fly Continental? What were you thinking? And so the hairdresser goes, well, now where are you staying in Rome? And she goes, we're staying at a beautiful bed and breakfast called the Tiber Bed and Breakfast overlooking the Tiber River. And he goes, don't go any further. I know that place. It's a dump. It's awful. There are rats. There are mice. And the food is moldy. I know that place. Why would you ever think of staying at the Tiger B&B? Well, she says, whatever happens, we're going to the Vatican, and maybe I'll get to see the Pope. And he goes, that's rich. That's really rich. With 1 million other people, you'll never get to see the Pope. Oh, good luck. You might get to see him in his little window, postage stamp size. Good luck on this lousy, lousy trip of yours. You're going to need all the luck you can get. A month later, the woman returns to the hairdresser, and she said, it was a wonderful trip. Not only were we on time, but we were in one of Continental's newest planes. It was brand new and sparkling clean. And yet it was overbooked. So they bumped us up to first class with no extra charge. The wine, the food, the entrees, the main course was absolutely superb. We've never had a meal like that. The stewardess were almost overly attentive. The hotel was great. They'd just done a $5 million renovation. But again, they were overbooked. So they bumped us up from a tiny suite to the owner's suite. It was spectacular, right overlooking the river. And so a guard at the Vatican tapped me on the shoulder when we went to the Vatican. And he said, the Pope likes to meet people once in a while from the crowd, just an ordinary person. Tapped her on the shoulder and said, I'm taking you to meet the Pope. And the Pope kneeled before me and prayed for me, and then whispered a few words into my ear. And the stylist said, really? What did the Pope say? He said, who friggin' messed up your hair? Are you going to accentuate the positive, or are you going to embellish the negative? What you choose to see in your mind is what you choose to be in your life. And so mindset is everything. Mindset is everything. If life gives you pumpkins, make pumpkin pie. If life gives you pumpkins, plant pumpkin seeds. And if life gives you pumpkins, create a pumpkin carriage. And I like to see the magic of a pumpkin patch carriage as my always glowing inner consciousness. The glow that we send forth from within becomes the glow that we receive without, and we become one with that light of love in this world. The magic of a pumpkin carriage comes about from the within of our mental mindset, which thereby creates the outer, real-life, mental equivalent of a manifested like-minded reality. What you think about, you bring about. What pumpkin face are you going to show to the world? Cinderella, metaphysically, what does it symbolize metaphysically? It metaphysically symbolizes rising from the ashes. Remember, she was a Cinderella. She was always tending to the ashes in the fire, taking them out. But you know, in those ashes in the fireplace, and from the ashes of the things that you don't believe went well, you know, you can write your own name. You can write your own dream. You can write your own affirmation. You can draw a heart. You can call a smiling face. In the ashes of that fireplace, you can make that your tablet, your tableau, your truthful testimony to what you truly desire. In the ashes in that fireplace, in the ashes of the things that you feel didn't work out, you can take your imagination. You can write with your finger. You can write with a stick, whatever you want in those ashes. I'm rising again. I'm one with love. I know who I am, and I'll never forget it again. They're your ashes. Write in them what you want and transform your life. So it symbolizes rising from the ashes of our undesirable conditions into the divine demonstration of awareness and oneness and awakeness, that all things are possible to those who first believe in the first cause and the first cause of the power of their mind. It all takes place in your first causation of the thought you think in your mind. And the thought you think in your mind will appear in the real world in like kind. Whether a Cinderella or today a Cinderfella, mental equivalents work just the same. In Science of Mind, we don't put our belief in fairy godmothers without. We put our belief in the power of our faith within. In Science of Mind, we don't give our power to fairy godmothers without. We claim the faith of the power of faith within us. For as within, so without. Mindset is everything. Set your mind to the default of as within, so without. Science of Mind is not about the garrison of outer worldly victories. It's about the greatness of our inner creative visions, not garrisons of victories, but creative visions. It's about the power of our inner mental equivalence to raise and praise and amaze us above and beyond any circumstances of conditions. Any circumstances of conditions. Any. Emmett Fox brought forth from his inner consciousness the outer concept of mental equivalence. It was Emmett Fox, and we study him in Science of Mind. He's marvelous. Inner mental equivalence. Create our outer material expressions. The power of mental equivalence is knowing beyond knowing what we think about, we bring about. As we set the tone of our love within, we align with love's harmony without, a harmony of ease and grace and flow, a harmony of attunement, atonement, at-one-ment, the at-one-ment of knowing. That which we see, we be. That which we see in the inner of our mind, we become the outer in like kind. Wayne Dyer shared this. This was Wayne Dyer's mental equivalent. Pretty good mental equivalent. Worked pretty good for him. He shifted it from, I'll believe it when I see it. And he chose to rewrite the script of his mind with, I'll see it when I believe it. Mental equivalent. Science of Mind shares, you'll see it when you seed it. What are you seeding in the thoughts of your mind? Because what you're seeding in the thoughts of your mind will become the harvest of your life. That's our underlying philosophy. Seed, soil, and plant. Our talk is pumpkin patch parables. And the question I ask is, in what way does a pumpkin reflect the seed, soil, and plant principle of Science of Mind? How does this pumpkin represent Science of Mind? We're doing spiritual principles and practices, and that's what we're talking about. It invites you to be open at the top. A pumpkin invites you to open it at the top. Science of Mind invites you to be open at the top to all kinds of new ideas. Can we see how Halloween represents our Science of Mind teaching? Are you open at the top to all of the receiving of God's harvest? A pumpkin reminds us that inside that pumpkin that we get to bring forth are so many pumpkin seeds, and that's our teaching, an abundant harvest, an infinite harvest, an unlimited harvest. Yeah, one pumpkin, but how many pumpkin seeds? How many pumpkin seeds? And you plant those, field of pumpkin seeds, and you plant those, fields of pumpkin seeds. So a pumpkin reminds us of the field of consciousness in which we can plant any mental equivalent through the seeds of the thoughts we choose to bring in, through the seeds of the thoughts we choose to nourish, and through the seeds of the thoughts that we choose to live. Really, another thing about this pumpkin is it gives you the opportunity to let your love shine. Are you going to let your love shine? Are you going to let your love shine through the eyes of love? Or are you going to let your shadow shine? You're going to let your shadow shine. You're going to let your shadow shine like that hairdresser. You're going to let your shadow side shine? Or are you going to let the eyes of love radiate out in this world? The pumpkin gives us the choice to create any filter that we want to shine our light through. And you can put any wattage bulb or candle in there you want. Your choice. What's your wattage? What's your lumen? What's your candle flame? And I suggest you go beyond 100 watts or 20 watts or 5 watts and think of your light as the power of love that you are. I invite you to shift your mental equivalent to the power of your pumpkin light, not being 5 watts or 10 watts or the lumens of a candle. I invite you to think it being the power of the love that you shine. Because if you choose to shine your light By being open at the top to infinite possibilities, the light that you shine will create infinite transformation on this planet. It will instantly transform this planet. And so I invite us right now to think this is our mental equivalent. I let my love shine through. Right now, we're adopting a pumpkin today, but I invite you to adopt this. Let my love shine through. Spirit, let my love shine through. Spirit, in your infinite wisdom, let my love shine through. Spirit, in your infinite intelligence, let my love shine through. Spirit, in your infinite knowing, let my love shine through as you. She was only 16 years old when Nazi soldiers knocked on her family's door. Her name was Edith Eva Egger. She lived in Hungary, and she loved to dance. She dreamed of becoming a ballerina, of getting married, of building a normal life. But that dream shattered in an instant. She was deported with her family to Auschwitz. When they arrived, her mother's last words to her, for the very last time she saw her mother on that first day, her mother whispered these words to her. And what her mother was doing with Eva was her mother was sharing her mental mindset. Her mother was sharing her mental mindset. Eva was sharing her mental mindset with her daughter. She knew these would be the last words and the last time she would ever see her daughter. And these are the words that Eva chose to hold as her mental mindset at Auschwitz on the way to the ovens. Mental mindset is everything. She whispered these words to her daughter. Remember, no one can ever take away what you have in your mind. No one can ever take away what you hold in your mind. A few minutes later, her mother was sent to the gas chambers. Edith survived only because Joseph Mengele, the angel of death, forced her to dance for him. He gave her a piece of bread as a reward. She shared it with other prisoners. And she shared years later that that small act of kindness opened her up to a place of shining her light of love in a way that her light of love would never allow anyone to destroy her humanity. And she said sharing that piece of bread saved her life because it lit up her life with the knowing that we are here to share the light of love that we are. And sometimes we share it by breaking bread. Eva survived death marches, hunger, and abuse. And when she was liberated, she weighed barely 30 kilos. She had lost everything except her mental mindset, which she focused on her will to live. Where's your mental mindset? Where's your mental mindset? No one can take it away from you. No one can change it for you. It's your mind. Set it according to the way you want to live your life. And as you set it to a life of magnificence and beauty and love, you will come to see a world that works for everyone. Years later, she emigrated to the United States. She married, she had children, and she studied psychology. For years, she never spoke of what she had endured until one day she realized that unspoken pain is a prison. So she decided to tell her story, transforming her suffering into healing for others. She wrote an extraordinary book called The Choice, and you can get it on Amazon. And because of her mental mindset, it was not a story of victimhood. It was a story of the victory of freedom. She used to say, forgiveness doesn't excuse what happened. It's not about changing the past. It's about freeing the future. It's not about changing the past. It's about freeing our future. Today, her words are taught in universities and therapy centers all over the world. Edith Eger showed that the body can be imprisoned, but the mind cannot. That even in hell, one can choose to remain human. And that forgiveness, true forgiveness, doesn't absolve those who do harm, but it liberates those who refuse to remain their captives. Welcome to Science of Mind. What side of the pumpkin are you going to show to the world? What wattage of love are you going to bring forth in the world? You know, our talk was Pumpkin Patch Parables. And I trust in some way it touched your heart. I'm knowing it stirred your soul because I know it stirred my soul. But mostly, I hope that it opened your mind to knowing the power of mental equivalence. The mindset you hold in your mind will create the set of life circumstances which you live in your life. Pumpkin Patch Parables. What face? What face are you going to show to the world? Because the face you choose in your mind to show the world is the face the world will show back to you. What face will you carve on your pumpkin, first in your mind, then in material realm? I still want that pumpkin nose of a Science of Mind symbol. Anybody, an artist here, can make that happen? I think Ross would have made it happen, but not at 8 at night. So 1959, bread was 14 cents a loaf and pumpkins were 2 cents a pound. This nation believed and embraced and empowered the children to believe that they made a difference when they went around collecting for UNICEF. I believed I made a difference when I was 5 years old. And because of this teaching, I believe I make a difference when I'm approaching 75 years old. And what I want you to know, you make a difference by being part of this center, by being part of this community. And you make a difference today by adopting a pumpkin. And it's not about the values of the pennies you collect, and hopefully some dollars too. It's about the value of knowing your own self-worth. Liam and his pumpkin. Ava and her mindset. The power of mental equivalence will not only change your life, it will change the life of the world you live in, and it will change it starting today. Change for change. A little change makes the biggest change in this world. And so today's affirmation, today is mine according to the mold of my mind. And I invite you to say that with me. Today is mine according to the mold of my mind. Today is mine according to the mold of my mind. Which pumpkin face will you hold in mind? Which pumpkin face will you draw and carve? Which pumpkin face will you show to the world? How many can remember this song in 3 notes? Da, da, da. What's your pumpkin face? What's your pumpkin heart? And what's your pumpkin light? From where I stand, they're all beautiful. because they're you. Thanks for being here today. So let's go into a pumpkin prayer. Let's pray in the harvest of the bounty of knowing that there's a goodness. There's a goodness in every snow-covered and frosted field. And know with me that below that snow-covered, frosted field is this fertile ground of possibility. And that field can be the field of consciousness. And what I know is that field of consciousness is the mind of spirit. It's that infinite, all-knowing, all-powerful mind of spirit, even below the snow. It's there. And so while the snow is there, I invite you in a winter season to bring forth the spring and the summer and the harvest seasons of knowing in your mind you can plant the seeds of the spring you want to see. You can plant the seeds of the summer the way you want it to be. And you can plant the seeds, so that snow-covered field, in the field of consciousness, you can plant the seeds of the harvest you would like to bring forth. It's an abundant world. It's an abundant life. Spirit loves us beyond our knowing. And what is ours to do and to be and to see is love Spirit in a way beyond any of our knowing up until now. And I invite you to know Spirit as the seed, soil, and plant of all things as possible. The seed, soil, and plant of a world that works for everyone. The seed, soil, and plant of an abundant harvest of pumpkins and possibilities in your life. And we end this pumpkin prayer by saying, and so it is. And now we've got our final song. And if you feel like singing along and standing up and singing along, please, you couldn't
you will do
have a brighter light guiding you than Michael got. He's one of the brightest people on this planet.
Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing. You will do amazing things with the choice each new day brings, and with every step you take, bless the progress that you make. The reason you live is there in every gift you give. Love your life, love your dreams. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Amazing, amazing. You will do amazing things. Oh, the places you will go, and the people you will know. Don't worry when, where, or how. You don't need to know that now. You're on the right track. No need to look ahead or back. Just enjoy what this day brings, and you will do amazing things. You don't have to work it out. Just stay in the here and now. Let your mind rest for a little while. Sometimes deepest answers come when you're out there having fun. So close your eyes, take a breath, and smile. Amazing, amazing, you will do amazing things.
So let's do our affirmation since it's up there one more time. Today is mine, according to the mold of my mind. And so know with me that one of the amazing things we can do is smile to the world. Don't hide it. Don't darken it. Show it. Show your smile to this world. And I love saying SMILE, science of mind is love expressing. You couldn't be in a better teaching, you couldn't be at a better center, and you couldn't be at a better place today than right where you are. So I invite us to know this as we do our Adopt a Pumpkin program at lunch today. And if you're not ready for lunch, come talk to me and we'll get you a pumpkin and an affirmation sheet. But let's do this now. I give and receive freely and generously with an open heart and an open mind. This universe responds to me in kind. I know that my beloved community is richly blessed, and so it is. So if our ushers will come forth as they are. And know that your energy is your gift of love. So as that offering plate passes by, and I know a lot of you auto-tithe, if you don't have something today, just circle your hand around that, and that's putting your love right in that basket. And that's what everything is, the circulation of love. So circulate your love for us today.
Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything.
Yeah.
Thank you, God, for everything.
Thank you, God,
for everything. Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for everything. Thank you, God, for
everything. And so now we will share that attitude of gratitude of being thankful for everything. Not thankful for something, but thankful for everything in this moment. And so I invite you to stand up. If you're at home, I invite you to stand up at home and sing this peace song with us. So we circle the sanctuary, we hold hands, and we sing our way home. And so as we close this circle, let's close this circle here. And here we go with a peace song. And let this be the mindset that you carry with you all through this holiday season. All And so I invite us to know that Spirit is moving in us and as us and through us. And I invite each and all of you on the way home today to buy a pumpkin and to hold on your way home with that pumpkin in your seat that you've adopted, plus the pumpkin you'll be adopting in Carter Hall to take home. I want you to hold in your mental mindset, what face are you going to carve on that pumpkin? So this is our pumpkin prayer for each and all of you to buy a pumpkin on the way home. Hold in your mental mindset what you're going to carve on that pumpkin, and let that pumpkin face be the light of love you show in the world. So pumpkins one and all, I want you to know there is pumpkin pie in Carter Hall. How could there not be? And lunch and but oh my gosh, I'm told we're raffling the pumpkin off, and if you would like prayer work, Adrian and Evonne and I will be over here for a 1-minute prayer. I see somebody heading for the pumpkin pie, I think. So pumpkin pie and full lunch in Carter Hall, soup and sandwiches, pasta salad, and if you'd like prayer, we'll be over here. Adopting a pumpkin. If you're not staying for lunch, come get a pumpkin from me.
In my life, I have been searching for something